Our first season back in the Premier League was generally a successful one. We were never really in danger of falling back into the championship. We secured our spot as an established Premier League team decently early. We even challenged for European places as late as February and early March. However, we do need to take that next step. So we're going to take a hard look at the team. We've got a player who wants a ton of money. He's also the best player on our squad. We've got lots of things to look at as we enter season number 4 at Fulham, our second season back in the Premier League. Can we challenge for something? I certainly hope so. We will find out. We've got some moves that we may need to make between now and then. We're going to take a hard look at our tactics. We kind of got a little unsettled there as the season went along. I take full responsibility for that. We've got a big season coming up, and it starts now. And welcome back, everyone, to episode number 73 of Bottom to the Top. I'm Mr. Cellophane. I hope you are having a great day. Very little time has already passed since the end of our first season. In fact, we just sent the team off on their summer holidays, but we do have a Federico Guerrero problem. We have 13 days left to fulfill the promise of giving him a new contract. We've already tried on a couple of occasions. He's currently making £72,000 a week. He wants to make over $200,000, which would put him far and away our most expensive player. Now, he is also very easily our best player. Out of curiosity, I called up his agent and said, hey, if he was looking to make a move, if we were thinking of making a move, what could we get for Federico Guerrero? And he said, oh, Juve will just give you $101 million right now. Do you want me to make the call? We're not going to make the call, but we do need to figure out what we're going to do with Federico Guerrero moving forward. Now, the good news is it looks like his demands may have gone down just a little bit as we are getting the feedback from the agent. He's very keen on renewing his contract with Fulham. We are very keen on renewing him. He wants to be a star player. I am okay with that. He's played most of the matches, started 33 of the 38 matches that we played this year, came in off the bench a couple of more times, so 35 matches out of 38. He's already getting those kind of minutes. He does want to wage between 135 and 165,000 a week. Now, I'm sure that would include appearance fees. We are trying very hard to take those variable costs or potentially variable costs out of the equation, and we are willing to give players a little bit more each and every week up front as kind of like a fixed amount without having to worry about appearance fees, unused sub fees, things like that. The big sticking point is he does want a minimum fee release clause for clubs playing in the Champions League of $97 million. Now, that's obviously $4 million less than Juve would offer him just right off the bat like that. So I'm a little concerned with that, which is what is pushing his wages up so much. Now, he is willing to accept the star player promise, and he's coming in asking for $150 a week with almost $30,000 in appearance fees. We are obviously going to take those out. We've already talked about that. We do not want the minimum fee release clause and the yearly wage rise. We're going to remove that as well. We are going to offer him what we can, which right now, I mean, he was asking for $150 with the 30 grand. Let's see if we can do $175,000. He also wants a match highest earner clause, which right now I'm okay with leaving in because he is our highest earner. The next highest earner, I think, is on $115,000 a week. So he is well above that. I don't think we're going to be bringing anybody in who is going to be making that much more. So I'm going to leave that in there. Hopefully that is going to make him want to stay. We're going to add in a couple of bonuses as far as winning the Carabao Cup, as far as winning the FA Cup, because if we do, I will gladly pay those out, and winning the Premier League as well. So £1.3 million bonuses should any of those things happen. Will he accept $170,000 a week? He will not. $205,000. That is quite a bit. So let's go to 175. Oh, he came down to 185. Let's see if we can make it go in the middle. He went up to 190. He wanted 205. We offered 175. He came down to 185. We went to 180, and they jumped up to 190. I think, my friends, we are going to have to bite this bullet. The 21-year-old, he will be 26 when this contract expires. 190,000 pounds a week to ensure Federico Guerrero remains a cottager. Now, while we're here, we're going to talk a little bit about what we are thinking about doing tactically for the coming year. Melvin Costa did score a couple of goals as a striker, but retraining him was just not working the way I wanted to. He is an immensely talented player, so we have to find a way to incorporate him on the right-hand side. Now, we had a ton of attacking midfielders who can also play striker, but none of them really did great. Tom Burford added a couple of goals from the position. Federico Guerrero, a couple. He actually was the most productive as a left wing, so we're going to try him out there. We're going to try looking at a 4-3-3 with the one defensive midfielder, two midfielders on the attack. Now, guys like Marco Morales, Tom Burford, they are more advanced midfielders, but they are capable of playing a standard central midfield position, and we are going to stick with the one lone striker. Now, Gabriel Amaya was pretty good in that position this year. He is a physical specimen, not the quickest, but he is strong. He can jump. He's 6'2", so he can kind of be a target forward. He can kind of be a pressing forward, so we're going to put him in a more complete forward role. It's not one that I have used a lot. He played 37 matches, scored 12 goals, added 4 assists. Now, a ton of those matches were off of the bench. In fact, he played more off of the bench than he started. I think while he is very suited for this role, he may not be, at 21 years old, our starting striker. He may be better suited for like a super sub type role that he was so good at last year. So I think striker is on our shopping list. Providing support on that left-hand side behind Guerrero is most likely going to be Alex Guest. Now, I take full responsibility in this, but when we brought in the 23-year-old, I was just rewatching the transfer special from last year, and all the things I was saying about him, I kind of reneged on. I did not use Alex Guest in the way that I should have. He ended up playing a total of 30 matches for us, 21 of them starts, only 12 on the left-hand side. He was originally intended to be a replacement for Harvey Vale. I kind of sort of had trouble letting go of Harvey Vale to the detriment of the team, because that meant Alex Guest didn't really have the development curve that we were hoping he would last year. He did play his best on the left-hand side. He played 12 matches there, picked up 2 assists. He played 9 on the right-hand side, did okay. He also did okay in the middle, 9 matches there. We are going to make sure that the 23-year-old is in his best position, and that is going to be as our left back to start the season. I think our second biggest area of, I don't want to say concern, but our area that we are going to be looking to upgrade this season, we do have about $50 million in the transfer budget that we can afford to spend. We are going to have to trim some salary moving forward. Now that we've given Guerrero this massive deal, we are kind of like right at our wage cap, which we obviously could always raise by moving some money around, but that will just take less out of our transfer budget than maybe we can afford. Marvin Akahomen was a very good addition, the 6'2", 23-year-old Nigerian Swiss dual national. He played very well for us, 37 matches, 34 of them starts in the league, 3 goals, 3 assists. He doesn't love big matches, I get that, but he is athletic and he is very strong. We never really did a very good job of finding a true partner for him. We thought Aurelia Menda might fill in there. We thought Matty Pollock, until we realized how much he was going to cost if we kept playing him. We even thought that Jair was going to fill that hole. And to be fair, Jair was not bad. He's pricey. He's a little bit older than everybody else at 26 years old, and it looks like his development has taken a little bit of a hit. His ball control is an issue. Right now he's in a ball-playing defenseman role, but I'm still tweaking what that's going to look like for our center backs. 13 appearances for the club, 12 of them starts, one of them in the cup, so actually 13 of them were starts. He did score 3 goals and an assist. He was responsible directly for a pair of own goals, however. 6'6", we love having that big body and that presence on set pieces. Is he the full-time guy? Time will tell. He may have to be a come-off-the-bench late in the game kind of guy. Haven't yet decided. 83 grand a week, though, that's a lot of money to pay for a guy who's only playing part-time. Ivan Fresneda was also okay coming in the second half of the season as a right back. I think I got blinded by the fact that I could buy a player from Bayern Munich for only 15 million. I still love the look of this kid. A 6.74 rating, though, in 11 matches. 8 of them starts. He made 1 sub-appearance in the Premier League. No goals, no assists. Needs to work on his heading a little bit. I mean, he can kind of get in the air. That's not too bad, but a little wayward with that. Probably still our best option at right back right now. Daniil Denisov, the 28-year-old, did add 6 assists, including very early on in the season. I feel like that was front-loaded. Only 1 assist in the last 20 matches played. He does have 4 goals over his 64-match career at Fulham. He's good. He's got some decent value to him. He's making $75,000 a week. Again, it could be somewhere that we are able to trim salary. He does have a competitive streak, and if my memory serves correctly, he was sent off a number of times later on in the season, which has kind of soured me on him. I like Daniil Denisov. I like the way that he has played, except there are plenty of times where I do not like the way he is playing. His spirited personality with the dive into tackles trait is just turning out to be a volatile combination that has hurt us as often as it has helped us. Also been a little disappointed by Nikola Shivlina, who is our now second highest wage earner on the club. Made 37 starts out of 38 matches in the Premier League, stands at 6'4". He is a perfectionist. He's consistent. He's got the aerial reach. All of those things on paper. He conceded 51 goals, which for a newly promoted team in reality is not that bad. Only kept 6 clean sheets, however, and a 6.66 average rating ain't great. Now, Vladan Kovacevic is probably on his way out. He didn't take kindly to being asked to be the backup. I don't think he has more talent than Shivlina does, so I think it would kind of be 6 of one, half dozen of another to make that switch. So I think going from Shivlina to Kovacevic would not be an improvement. I don't know if I'm ready to move on yet from Shivlina because I don't want to start this revolving door of goalkeepers thinking that I'm always chasing after something new. I think if we are able to play better tactically ahead of him, we can be more consistent in open play. I think Nikola Shivlina may turn into the goalkeeper we need him to be yet. If not, we'll figure that out. We also need to figure out what's happening at our defensive midfield position. We have a lot of guys in the spot that me, really like, that I'm not 100% sure if it is time to just scrap the whole thing and start over. Dare Akande, only 22 years old, the Nigerian, played in 28 matches for us. Just the 1 assist, now always playing, for the most part, in a more defensive role. His passing isn't the best. It's not too bad, and we are going to be looking at our DM to be more of a pivot for this tiki-taka style we are looking at. Has some value. We picked him up for 19 million from Estoril Praia. He's worth about 40 now, we think, on the open market, 59,000 a week. I do not know. Craig Ross we brought in from Everton last year for 26.5 million. He is on half the wages. He is a much better passer. He's better with the ball. Not as physically strong as Dare Akande is, just a year older. The only thing is, Akande is a Nigerian international. Craig Ross does not play for England, which means that we don't have to worry about him getting tired, but he also doesn't have as much potential. He's not viewed as good a player now. Ross, while very good for us while on loan 2 years ago, not as good last year. Did add a pair of goals and an assist, so more offensively minded than Dare Akande, 6.81 average rating. Not too bad. He does look for the pass rather than attempting to score as well. So those are our two primary choices, but we also cannot forget about Kim Young-suk. Now, he was out on loan for the first half of the season with Suwon, the club that we bought him from. He's only 19 years old. He is much less expensive, and he's got a ton of value. So maybe if there's a player that we do move on to fund things, it would be Young-suk. He was then off at the Asian Cup, so he didn't really have a lot of time to come into our squad and gel and learn the roles that we needed him to learn. Do we give him more time? I don't know. He ended up playing 3 matches with us. A 6.57 rating really didn't cut the mustard, so it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. He wasn't playing enough to get better, and he wasn't good enough to get more playing time. So we will take a look in this preseason at Kim Young-suk, but if we can get $30 million for him, we paid 1.5. I think that's a good bit of business we could potentially do. Liverpool did manage to pull the double. They won the FA Cup with a pretty resounding 4-0 win over Manchester United. So it is Liverpool finishing in 7th place, but going to the Europa League. Wolves in 6th, heading to the Europa Conference League. Kind of got a little hard done, not going to lie. Either way, it doesn't matter where we would have finished. We wouldn't have qualified for Europe. Federico Guerrero got a work permit. He has signed his new 5-year deal. He is happy with the contract. He better be. It's going to cost us a lot of money. I thought maybe selling him may be the best thing to do, but honestly, he is the best player on the team, and I think we would have to spend more than £101 million to replace him, so it would be a wash at best. Federico Guerrero, still a cottager for 5 more years. Now, every time I'm feeling a little bit down on the team, I need an email like this to remind me just what good of a position that we are actually in. 13 of our players have been called up for international duty, including Tom Burford, to take place in the Nations League semifinal against France. The 20-year-old could potentially cap for England for the first time in his career with the senior team at the tender age of 20. Also, Federico Guerrero, yep, he's capping for Argentina again. He has 3 already, including a senior goal for his country. Things are only going onwards and upwards. Forwards, not backwards, for Fulham Football Club. I just feel it in my bones. So I have been giving this a lot of thought, and I have come to the realization that I tend to tinker a lot with my teams. Could be the reason why we only have 1 championship in this entire run. We've had a very good journey so far. We made it to the Premier League on job number 3 in only year 6. However, I think we have a very solid core. We had a better year last year than we honestly should have coming back out of the championship in our first year back in the Premier League. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be taking a deep dive into the analysis that we can generate on the team. I almost forget sometimes how deep Football Manager can be. Were there going to be some moves to be made? Absolutely. Are we going to make wholesale changes? No, we are not. Of course, I say that now. That may still change. But the plan is to shore up the holes that we don't have, maybe move in some better depth players to replace some of the depth players that got us up through the championship. But I don't know how vastly different this Fulham team is going to look this year than it did last. There will be new faces, absolutely. There will be old faces that are no longer around, but we are not going to do what we did as we came out of the Premier League into the Championship and then back out of the Championship into the Premier League. We are not going to be completely giving a brand new facelift to Fulham Football Club. We're just going to improve it in any way that we can. That very well may be my way of saying we're nearly 20 minutes into the video. It's still June. The transfer window has not yet opened, but it may not be the longest transfer special that we've had. Brian Meyer's days may be coming to an end here at Fulham. A number of bids for him. His contract does end at the end of June. We are not looking to renew him. At 30 years old, he has fallen way down the pecking order as far as our goalkeepers are concerned. His primary function on the club, honestly, was to get the rest of the team to like us, because when he and Aurelia Menda came in from Qasim Pasha, they were like, you know what? Your new gaffer, he ain't too bad a guy. Brian, thank you very much for your service. You will always have a place in my managerial heart. It's also the end of an era at Fulham Football Club. Since 2008, Hugh Jennings has been our head of youth development. We have one of the top youth development systems in all of the world. In fact, we are so good, it is a club objective. Big shoes to fill, but we are on the search for a new Hugh Jennings. Brian Meyer is officially on his way to Charlton Athletic. He has signed a new deal starting July the 1st. £12,500 a week for the 30-year-old goalkeeper. Brian, Godspeed, son. Also, Atleti have approached David Trezeguet, our 53-year-old scout. We've offered him a new contract. We're trying to get him. He's currently making £11,000 a week. We're trying to get him on 15. Hopefully that's enough to keep him in England. He's probably the best scout that we have. Meanwhile, Jonah Foote is on his way out the door. He's going to be on loan for the year at Notts County. An £875,000 optional fee should they decide to execute it. A decent player, great flair off the ball, just way behind anybody else we have. At 23 years old, the Jamaican English dual national just really does not factor into our future plans. And just in case you keep seeing all of these guys that are potentially leaving and wondering where our investment for the future is, don't worry. We do have a couple of deals that we are already cooking up even before the transfer window has officially opened. Former Kim Young-suk teammate over at Suwon, right back Bae Jae-hoon, is going to be joining the club for $1.3 million. The diminutive right back has a ton of speed to get up and down that side, and already he's going to be deemed to be almost as good as Daniil Denisov. Now, Fresneda, is going to be our starter. I don't know how much Bae Jae-hoon is going to play for us this year, but I can't wait to see what his value is once he shows up. We also put in the bid in the category too good to pass up for the price. $2.4 million for Uruguayan Pedro Iglesias. He is a 6'2", 178-pound center back. Pretty decent in the air, great balance. Love the bravery, determination. His work rate is astronomical. He is suspended in his league. Can't wait for him to join us, though. It's another one that $2.4 million I think is going to be a bargain when all is said and done. Is he our solution at center back? No, not for right now. I know that going in, but again, 2.4 mil, if he gets a work permit, that is a pretty good deal for us. On the more permanent side, we are taking a very long look at 21-year-old Ukraine international Dmytro Tarasenko. He has the mental attributes of a rocket scientist, 6'4", 189 pounds, very solid defensively. He does have a bit of an aggressive streak, so he may run into some trouble moving forward, but very adaptable, very determined, very brave, already 3-star current ability, 4.5 stars of potential. He does have a release clause of $36.5 million. How much is he going to want each and every week? He's already making $44,000 in Ukraine, looking to make that step up. PSG is already in for him. I think we may need to take this punt. Well, we can certainly try. I mean, we already know about the minimum fee release clause for foreign clubs, so Shakhtar would have to let him go if we pay the $36.5 million. He's looking for between $72,000 and $94,000 a week. Also wants to be one of the most noteworthy players at the club. Relegation release clause, I have no problem giving that. We do not expect to get relegated, and we'll actually be making money on him even if we did. Not 100% sure about the Champions League release clause of $80 million, but it could be a quick profit turnaround. Also looking to strengthen the first team in the midfield. I kind of like our midfield. Think that's a promise we may have to avoid. We have gotten him to come down with his weekly wage demand a little bit. We are going to go make that transfer as we put the offer in for the 36.5 million. Hopefully Shakhtar gets back to us and we can beat out Paris Saint-Germain. No worries. Well, never mind about Bae Jae-hoon. He has accepted the offer to join Arsenal. It's fine. Perfectly fine. Well, Tarasenko wants to come to Fulham. He has the same interest in us as he does in PSG. So I guess we just need to make him the best offer we possibly can. We've already got a small win. We did agree to get him to say yes to regular starter status versus being an important player. So that's a win. We did have to promise that we're going to challenge for a domestic cup in the 2032-33 season. I mean, we plan on doing that anyway. I guess the worst thing that happens is he becomes unhappy and wants to move and we have to sell him for more money than we paid for him. He's looking for a 5-year deal, 73 grand a week with 14,500 in appearance fees. We're obviously going to get rid of those. We will leave the minimum fee release clause of 80 million. Again, tidy profit. We'll kick this up to 77,000 pounds a week. Relegation release clause, if we lower that, is it going to make him want to join us anymore? He agreed. 77,000 for Dmitry Tarasenko. While we await the news of Tarasenko's signing, the new Premier League season is drawing nearer. Leicester, Brentford, and Bristol City have been promoted from the Championship. They will be our new competition. 1 week from now, 6 days actually, we'll see our fixtures for the coming year. Of course, we are looking forward to the season ticking over so we can start planning our American training camp. And we're going to have a little bit more money to play with. Mark Cross has been sold from Granada to Chelsea. He's back in the Premier League. We get £1.35 million. £115 million release clause. Wow. Although it looks like that news story is a little bit overinflated. Now, those who watch the Twitch stream while we're playing as Malaga Club de Football in La Liga knows that in Spain, all players get a minimum fee release clause. We sold him to Granada in Spain for 38 million. Looks like Chelsea is bringing him back to jolly old England for 34 million pounds. It's a little bit less than that minimum fee release clause that he had. 2 years in La Liga, he managed 3 assists, was named player of the match 5 times. Not too bad, but seemed to be backsliding. Scored 2 goals for us in our final season. Just saying. We may have found our new head of youth development, Nick Cox, currently occupying the position for Luton Town. Well, we just entered into a contract. Going to cost us 650 grand to buy him off of Luton, but I think it is going to be worth it. Roman Egan-Riley is going to be spending the season on loan at Preston North End. The 24-year-old we picked up on a free transfer a couple of years ago. Just really never developed into someone who would take over the center back position at the Premier League level, so we are happy to loan him out. Does still have an additional year on his contract, so we may look to move him on, but we got him on a free, not really worth all that much. We may have to end up parting ways on a free. Jurgen Strand Larsen, who spent the last year out on loan with Boa Vista, had an agreed upon optional fee of 34.5 million. That was 15 up front, with the rest coming in installments. What, 19.5 million, if I'm doing my math correctly. They have just come in with a non-negotiable offer of 12 million up front with 19.5. Plus, we've got a 9% intermediary fee of 2.8 million, because I guess that's how we arranged the deal in the first place. I don't remember. He also has a 5% sell-on fee, which is 1.6 million, and we still have to pay whatever is left on Strand Larsen's loyalty bonus that was signed at some other point. I don't remember doing that. I very well may have when I first came in. That is also 1.6 million. He really wants to go back to Boa Vista, but he's really worth more than this. Now, I don't care that Jurgen Strand Larsen is going to be upset when we reject this, and we are rejecting this, but I need his $105,000 off of our wage bill. He is not going to play for us. Or if he does, I could actually deal with that. He does tend to score some goals. But if Jurgen Strand-Larsen doesn't want to be here, we are going to get what he is worth. David Trezeguet has gotten a new work permit. He is back as one of our scouts. A new 5-year deal at £15,000. Did we overpay? Probably. Is he one of the best scouts in the game? Oh, absolutely. And I'm very glad that we have him here for 5 more years. Now the truth comes out. £30,500 a week for Beje Hoon. That explains why he joined Arsenal over us. Remove from shortlist. Boop. Well, you know, you've built one of the best staffs anywhere in Europe when everybody and their grandmother is trying to poach your guys. Pavel Nedved is the latest. Atleti have now offered him a job. Why don't you guys look elsewhere for your potential scouts? We're going to offer a new contract now to Pavel Nedved. Just a tip for all of you who may be new to Football Manager. If you have a staff member that you want to keep that's going to be poached by another team, do not ask them to stay. All you're going to do is aggravate them, because then they're going to feel that you are getting in the way of their ambition. The only way to effectively get them to remain at your club is to give them a new deal. Pedro Iglesias has gotten a work permit, a £2.4 million deal to bring in the 18-year-old center back. Again, not to be our main guy. We should already have him, although everything is not yet signed, sealed, and delivered. But I think a pretty good investment for the future. Of course, time's going to tell, but a pretty good-looking player to start off, and he could potentially have just almost doubled his value. But the important thing is he does have the potential to become a standard-level player for the Premier League, and that's really all we're looking for. And Nick Cox has, in fact, agreed to become our new head of youth development. Let's see if we can get to the top spot in England. Make the board happy for once. As of right now, they are satisfied with the steps that we have taken to improve our youth system, but only time will tell if we have actually fulfilled this obligation. It's desired. It's not required, so it will not cost us our job, but it could have bearing if other things do not go our way, such as if we do not improve on our defensively solid football. We are not going to be playing direct football, I have a feeling, in our new system, so I think they're going to still be a little disappointed on that front. Baby steps. Not worrying too much about it, but I am taking a quick peek at Dmytro Tarasenko, still underbid for us for $36.5 million, which meets the release clause. PSG still has their bid of $34 million plus. I'm not sure if Shakhtar is just going to take all the money with the release clause, or if they may be trying to negotiate with PSG. The player himself is extremely interested in joining Fulham and will look forward to playing in the Premier League with us. He just hasn't done it yet. Well, our fixtures have been released for the 2031-2032 season, and we open up on the road against Arsenal. And then we're at home against Manchester City, before we take on Everton, Sunderland, and Burnley. Arsenal and City to start off. Thanks. Federico Guerrero has officially put pen to paper on that new 5-year contract that we hammered out like half an hour ago. Josh King has also signed a new 4-year deal. The 24-year-old defensive midfielder making £22,500 a week. He's probably going to end up rotating in our midfield eventually, unless we send him back out on loan. He's currently at Stoke, but he should be coming back. Not 100% sure if he's got a ton of potential, but he did come up through our system. So if we do sell him on, then anything is pure profit. I know I talk about profit a lot and good business a lot, but when you're in the Premier League, you kind of have to. And pending a work permit, Pavel Nedved is going to remain with our staff. Atleti are going to have to go find somebody else. They are my team in real life, but Everton just poached one of our youth players. Now, he's not going to be a good youth player according to all the information we have, but The very fact they did it does not please me. Our preseason schedule has been set. We're going to kick things off on the 4th of July at home against Coventry before jetting off to the United States with 4 matches against Lexington, Knoxville, DC United, and the Philadelphia Union's second team before coming home and taking on Millwall, Motherwell, and Pennebont at Craven Cottage. Hopefully that will give us plenty of time to make sure our new tactic actually works. Very keen on joining Fulham, he said. Same interest in us as PSG, he said. Takes £59,000 a week to sign with PSG. Dmitry Tarasenko will not be a cottager now or, well, ever. Fulham, though, have offered us a new 4-year contract, £28,500 per week. I think we're making $23,500 right now. Still less than we were making when they first signed us away from Qasim Pasha. We lost, as you remember, a lot of money when we were relegated and the relegation wage drop clause kicked in. Don't want to make that same mistake. Let's see if we can get this up, maybe at least back to the level where we were, which I believe was 32.5. They will go up to 31. If we drop a year, will you give us more money? 4 years at 34. You know what? Let's try that again. They're just throwing money our way. 3 years at, all right, 4 years at 36.5. That's their final offer. We'll take it. I guess they liked us even more than we thought. All right, now it's war because now PSG has put in an offer non-negotiable for Dare Akande. $31 million up front, another $5.5 million in 4 6-month installments, plus $2.3 million if he makes another 20 appearances for Nigeria, and a 20% profit of the next sale. He's got a minimum fee release clause of $43 million. Despite their bid, he'd rather go to Mallorca if he went anywhere. Right now, we are going to turn this one down. And now it's as good a time as any to ask you to please hit the like button if you've gotten this far. Also, subscribe if you are new. These little things you can do to help support the channel mean a lot. These transfer specials are very difficult to put together. They take a long time, and all of your support is always appreciated. So now that the deal for Tarasenko has fallen through, we are looking at other options. A big one for us is 18-year-old Argentinian Christian Sosa. He's currently a star player over at Boca with a £9.4 million release clause. He'd need to learn the language. Teamwork is not really his strong suit, which is slightly concerning, but a professional personality. Excellent marking and tackling abilities. 6'2", 174 pounds. He's got decent strength. His jumping reach is okay. Maybe a decent option for us. But one of my other concerns coming into this season is we do have a very young team, so we may want to go a little bit more experienced in our center back position. Emmanuel Awu is at the top of that list. He's 30 years old. He's capped 33 times for Austria, currently at AEK, making $45,500 a week. Not sure what his wage demands are going to be. We are doing a little bit more scouting, but on his initial face, he looks to be like a very solid player and could be a tremendous addition to the squad. Time will tell. We'll know in a week or so. Another player in the similar vein is Emmanuel van de Blok, currently contracted to Liverpool. He's a dual national from the Netherlands and Nigeria, 26 years old. He does make a ton of money right now, which could make him a cost-prohibitive choice. He's also not very versatile, but I mean, we're not looking for versatility in a center back. He has the agility, he's got the pace, he has the jumping reach, standing at 6'1". His heading ability is fantastic. Decent mentals as well, good positioning. His work rate is nice. Natural fitness, though, is a little bit of a concern as well. We're going to have to take a deeper dive into him to see if maybe he's a little flexible on his wage demands, but he also could be a stalwart at center half for a number of years. Except it doesn't look like he's going to budge on those wage demands. So he's affordable from Liverpool from a transfer fee aspect. Is he affordable as a player? It's not looking likely. Another solid choice could be the 31-year-old Turkish Portuguese dual national Ozan Kabak. He's currently at FC Porto. They got him for $12.5 million from Hoffenheim. He's only worth $13.5 million right now. Very affordable. Will he be a massive step up over what we have? Time will tell. We're scouting him a little bit more. Again, we'll know in a week or so. He's currently making $54,000 a week. A lot more affordable than Van de Blok. I guess all we can really do is just keep scouting, keep our fingers crossed, hope the right player just shows up on our door. I love unexpected money, but Harvey Elliott has been sold once again, making a £58 million move from Liverpool to Monaco, which means we get £6 million plus $875,000 as a solidarity contribution payment, and we're going to get an extra $5.5 million in installments. I like this. I think we may have found our man. El Shaddai Bichiabu was relegated this past year with Sheffield United. Has a £29 million release clause. 6'5", 216 pounds. He's big, he's strong, and he's quick. Can also play a little bit of defense. But mainly he's big, strong, and quick. He's got a low price. He's got a resolute personality. He's consistent. He loves big matches. I like him. He's wanted by a couple of other clubs, including Nottingham Forest and Valencia. Hopefully, we can get our offer accepted from Sheffield United, and we can come to terms, and we can finally have our starting right center back. All right, this one goes against my standard mode of work. 34 years old, but on a free. Jack Harrison is going to be joining Fulham Football Club for the next year. His primary role is a leadership one, or at least an experienced one, as I look at his 7 in leadership. But what we are looking for him to bring is some secondary scoring off of the bench and someone who can spell young players like Federico Guerrero on the left, Melvin Costa on the right. One of the issues that I had personally committing to a wing-based system is I had on the right wing, I had Melvin Costa and Melvin Costa. Yes, Ziggy Chandler could play out there. Federico Guerrero could play out there, but I felt like I was already taking a very young player in Guerrero and throwing him all over the place. Ziggy Chandler, while he did provide some offense, I was always very concerned about his frailty. Whether or not that was founded or not, I'm not sure. He just felt like not a meaty enough player to really get by. So Jack Harrison, one of my personal favorite footballers, currently at the age of 34, has joined the FFC. I do love being right about getting a bargain. Bichiabu has joined Fulham, £29 million, 80 grand a week. We were able to get rid of that appearance fee that we've been trying to get rid of. 6'5", 216 pounds, worth between 50 and 55 million. I knew this was a bargain. Sheffield United, thank you very, very much. It's the end of another era for a player that originally was with us in Turkey at Kasımpaşa. Aureli Amenda is heading out the door. He's on his way to Feyenoord. 8.25 million. We did get a 10 million pound offer from Girona, but he had absolutely no interest in joining them. But I think that offer helped propel the amounts up. Amenda was upset that he wanted to leave and thought we were asking too much. We told him we would sell him if we got an offer of at least 6 million. So 8.25. Not a bad place to end up, especially when with all the other money we've been shelling out, we kind of had to transfer some stuff out of the transfer budget into the wage budget. So this will give us about 10 million or so to continue to play with as we look to bolster the depth on our roster. Another youngster is heading out the door. Vaughan Love, the 20-year-old Irish-English dual national, on sale and out the door for, I believe, £450,000. Forgot to double check that. Had some potential, very determined player. His natural fitness was just absolutely through the roof and could basically play any position up the middle of the pitch. The problem is he was injury prone, inconsistent. We just decided that if we could get something for him in the final year of his deal, now would be a good time to sell. Daniel Juarez is on the chopping block as well, one of the final players left over from our last appearance in the Premier League. The 29-year-old, somewhat versatile. He could play up the middle or on the right wing, just kind of like bang average in pretty much everything. At best, he's a decent championship level player. So when Ipswich knocked on our door, offered $7.5 million, we just couldn't say no. Matty Pollock, who we almost forgot, came back off of his loan spell from last year. Still unable to find a permanent deal for him right now. He is underbid right now for a loan with a £21 million optional fee attached, which is greater than his current value. So keeping our fingers crossed, we do not want to have to pay, I think it was like £7 million additional if he plays one more match for the club. So no matter what happens, his time at Fulham is finished. 23-year-old defensive midfielder Joe Jones came looking for a new contract, saying that he deserved to be more important than he is currently. He's right now 6th on our depth chart at defensive midfielder. A pretty good player. His tackling ability, technique, his first touch is fantastic. Great balance, and his jumping reach at 6'3" is phenomenal. But he's making $52,000. He wanted over $100,000 a year. So right now he's kind of in limbo with the club. He's not very happy here, obviously. As a result, there are loan bids on him from a couple of clubs, including Bayer Leverkusen. We're still waiting to see what happens there. Now, luckily for us, none of these are permanent deals. Look at the value on him. We are going to get full price one day. We offered him out for $52 million just in case. Neil Coulter, 22-year-old right back. He has spent some time with the club. In fact, he's made 20 appearances for Fulham since he has been with us since the 2024-2025 season. He's only 22 years old, so we've put him out available for loan. Got a couple of bids in on him right now from Derby and Stade de Reims to just get him some more playing time, as he finds himself currently behind Fresneda and Daniil Denisov. Now, if something were to change with either of those two, although Fresneda, we just got him in January, he's probably going to stay no matter what. But Denisov, we're not actively trying to sell him right now. We do kind of need the depth, but if Coulter can get more solid playing time at a slightly lower level, that ultimately will work out for us in the long run. We had shown some interest in a 19-year-old Israeli national from Maccabi Tel Aviv, part of our Journeyman save last year. We can get him at a pretty good price, and his current wage at £200 a month, he wasn't going to be demanding too much, but he wanted a ton of release clause guarantees and a whole bunch of other stuff that he wanted us to promise him. And while a pretty good player, one that we most likely would be moving on at some point and probably not becoming a massive part of our rotation, we just decided to take a pass. We do have a couple of bids in for a pair of 18-year-old depth players. The first is Eftichis Tsokos out of Greece. Our manager is Greece. Just wanted to throw a bone to a countryman. Pretty good value. He is another diminutive winger, just like Endo is on the left-hand side. But he's got plenty of room to grow. Will he become a stalwart at Fulham? Who knows? He's going to have trouble with the language. He may not be the best consistent player, but his first touch and versatility are second to none. Well, second to some, but you know what I'm talking about. So we're hoping to bring him in probably somewhere in like the £7.5 million range. We've also put in an offer, I think £2.5 million, maybe some extra add-ons here and there, that has been accepted. We're trying to work out a deal with Tony Soiree, an 18-year-old Senegalese striker. He's got good acceleration, good pace. His first touch is really good. His finishing is amazing. He still needs to learn the language, and he might not really fit in. Not very versatile either. Mainly a striker. Has played a little bit of right wing, but not really enough to talk about. But his speed, his finishing, the fact that we wouldn't have to register him, and he's got that fairly determined personality that we like. Tony Soiree, get in my belly. All right, well, you know, if I start saying things like get in my belly, I've been recording way too long. You can also tell it's dark outside now. So I've been doing this for most of the day. Time to wrap up this transfer special. We are about midway through our preseason, just about 3 weeks before the start of the Premier League season. And we've got that coming up for you in the next episode. So as always, thank you very much for your support. Hit like if you didn't do it when I asked you to earlier. Subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.